Hi, this recording is to go over the basics of welfare analysis in economics. I'm assuming you know what a demand and a supply curve are, and then we're going to leap off from there. Now, the red line that you see here, downward sloping, that is the demand curve, but the way I want to talk about it is the marginal benefit curve from consumption. So the more consumption we get as you go down the curve, the more overall benefit you get, but the less marginal benefit you get from consuming or using that good. The green line, that's usually called the supply curve, but I am going to talk about that in terms of it being a cost curve. And in particular, it is a marginal cost curve. So in economics, we always do marginal analysis. So the most efficient thing for us to find is where the demand curve here, where the marginal benefit curve coming down, where that meets the marginal cost curve, that is the equilibrium outcome, and it's also the outcome that maximizes the most benefit to society. All right, so let's look at how we measure the benefits to consumers when the price is given at this purple line. The consumer surplus is just given by the area underneath the benefit curve, the marginal benefit curve for them, and above the price curve. So keep in mind, the demand curve tells you the gross benefit, the gross marginal benefit that every person gets from consuming, but they have to pay this price given by the purple line. Okay, so net of having to pay the price, what's left over for them in terms of a net benefit, that is given by this triangle right up here. Now, producers also get a benefit. When they sell something, they get this price given by the purple line. However, they incur these increasing marginal costs as they go up and sell more and more. Well, obviously, once they get to this purple price, they're not going to sell another unit over here that costs more than the price they would get from selling it. So producers will always stop there when their marginal costs reach the price of the output. However, when they stop producing at that point, the total amount of benefit they get is given by this triangular region. Okay, this triangular region means that they are able to benefit from the sale of all of this box area right here, right? That's all the revenues they get in. But they also have to pay for all of these costs right over here. All right? So they get this big rectangle in revenues right here, but they have to take out of that these costs given right here. Okay? What's left over for them is that region right there, that triangle. That is producer surplus. Okay, let's get rid of those lines. I don't want those in there anymore. Okay, great. So this is the social optimum level. It's the level of consumption that corresponds to this point right here, where social demand, so social benefit from consumption equals the social cost of production. Well, you can have some deviations from this situation when consumption is too low. So this occurs in certain situations in economics. We're not going to discuss those situations. I just want to discuss the mechanics with you so you know what you're looking at when you get to these other applications. All right? So if consumption is too low, and for some reason we are constrained to only be allowed to consume at where this purple line is, you'll notice a couple of things. First of all, you will notice that at this point where the purple line is, the marginal benefit of consumption, right up here, is much higher than the marginal cost of production. So it would be possible for society to produce an extra unit over here at a cost that is below the the marginal benefit of that. So it's possible to increase total welfare by increasing production, but for some reason, there is some restriction on the market that is preventing society from reaching the optimal point. So let's examine what the welfare losses look like in this case. These areas right here are going to be the consumer surplus and the producer surplus. So depending on the situation you're in, the type of restriction you have, a couple of different things can happen. Well, for sure, this region up here that is yellow, that will correspond to consumer surplus, and the solid green region down here, that will for sure correspond to producer surplus. This middle area that I've put a red and a green X on, well, who that belongs to depends on the nature of the restriction. If we have a price ceiling down here, like this, and producers are not able to raise their price above where I just put that green line, then this entire area here, where goods are sold at a very low level, that turns into consumer surplus. Okay? So, but if we're in a different situation, if we're in a situation where there is a price floor, okay, prices can't go below that level, then producers are able to sell at that quantity at a much higher amount, and all of this area right here, this belongs now to producer surplus. Okay? Just keep in mind, if prices are artificially low, that benefits consumers. If prices are artificially high, that benefits producers or sellers. That would just be common sense. I think everybody would get it if you think about it in those terms. Okay, now let's examine the last part of this. So you'll notice that no matter who gets this middle X section, there is a part of surplus that we used to have right here, this blue triangle. Whoops, I'm sorry. This, I lost it here. Yeah, here we go. This blue triangle right here. Oh, it keeps doing that on me. I'm sorry, guys. Right here, that is deadweight loss. That used to belong, some of it used to belong to producers, some of it used to belong to consumers, but all of it now is completely gone. So depending on the restriction on the market that takes place, producers might be better off and consumers worse off. Consumers might be better off and producers might be worse off. But in both cases, the sum of consumer and producer surplus is reduced by the value of that deadweight loss right here. That is unchanged no matter the type of restriction we have. Okay, so that's the basics of a market distortion that causes consumption to be too low. So you're going to get a triangle that looks like that. All right, so now let's look at a situation where consumption is too high. Let me get rid of some things here. Here we go. All right, so if consumption is too high, then we're going to consider consuming for some reason at a point over here. Now, at a point like this, let me just select a pen and a color. Right here. At a point like this, right over here, let's get a thicker pen. I don't like that one. Here we go. Get rid of that. At a point like this over here, you'll notice that the benefit of consumption, which is given by this downward sloping demand curve, the benefit curve, is below the cost curve up here. So society is incurring high costs and relatively small benefits. And that is resulting in negative changes to welfare. So you could probably guess right now that you can probably see where that is going to be. The welfare loss then is just going to be given by these blue lines here. So if you look at this blue line right here, this long one, you can see that costs are above benefits. This one, costs are still above benefits, and so on, all the way down. So, in fact, this whole area right here, this whole triangular area, this is the deadweight loss when you have consumption that is too high. This typically occurs, or one way that it can occur, is if you have a negative externality in production, like pollution. This is going to be the shape of the deadweight loss that you see because consumption of the good will be too high. All right? So we have two cases, consumption too high, consumption too low. And I've shown you the two ways that you can identify the deadweight loss and the losses to overall economic surplus. All right, I hope this was helpful for you guys, and I'll talk to you later.